Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on the weTHRIVE podcast, where we share stories from around the world about how entrepreneurs are creating an impactful legacy. I'm your host, Casey Clark, and the business alignment strategist and founder of C3. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Marjorie Lewis, who is an animal communicator and animal medical intuitive, and she owns Ask Your Animals. Thank you so much for joining me today, Marjorie.
Good morning, Casey. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about you.
I talk to animals. Coming to this place in my career where I'm building Ask Your Animals has been an interesting road. It's taken me through a few other careers. First, a corporate career in the computer and contracting arena, and then through a 30-year profession as a massage therapist. So working with folks, body work, with lots of different populations, and then also with sport horses. And it was all of those hours working one-on-one with horses in a quiet, uninterrupted environment that taught me that we were having a conversation, that I was talking with the animals on a level, a nonverbal level, receiving and sending information between us. And that's what originally led to Ask Your Animals. And now I do consultations with animal owners, animal caretakers around the world, helping them to deepen their relationship with the animals in their care.
Awesome. I have to say, you're the most unique guest I've ever had on this podcast. I'm excited for this conversation.
I'm happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about how you get those messages with the animals.
So when I'm in consultation with animals and their caretakers, I sit in a semi-meditative state with my eyes closed, and I begin to receive information in the form of imagery, primarily. So I see pictures in my mind's eye, and they may be anything from a very simple symbol, like the outline of a cat tree, let's say, or a very detailed video. So it's as if I'm watching a video download, and it comes with motion and context. And then along with that, I start to receive physical feelings in my own body related to the animal, such as pain, fear, emotions, and physical sensations. And then my job is to act as a translator and to put those images and feelings into words in a way that the animal caretaker can understand. So I'm basically acting as a foreign language translator, so to speak, between the two parties.
Fascinating. I love it. So I'm really, really curious. What does thriving mean to you?
So thriving at this stage of my life is I think that's been an evolving concept in my life. And each different phase of my life or career phase of my life has taught me a little bit more about what thriving means. And I think that in the beginning, I mistook striving for thriving.
I think we all have at some point.
Yes. So these days, it's finding ways to live each day with a balance of doing and being. So to be productive in my career, to accomplish, to grow my business, but also to live in the joys of each day, to find joy in walking in nature or spending time with animals and connecting with friends. Because so often I hear stories from folks about, they just spent their life doing, and they almost missed their life. They wake up one day and say, who am I in this world? And I think that it's just so important to have that balance of work and play and the striving and thriving.
Yeah, that resonates very deeply with me. This year, my word is joy, and I literally had to look up what it meant because I was so used to striving, the do, do,
Mm,
do. I feel like
yes.
it's easy to get in that. Yeah. So I appreciate that. So, what obstacles have you utilized, or not utilized, excuse me, have you overcome, and what tools did you utilize to overcome them?
Well, as a entrepreneur, owning my own business, there have been a lot of obstacles, and the ordinary ones of building your business, cultivating your clientele, and financial concerns, things like that. But I think one of the obstacles that I share with many other entrepreneurs is overcoming self doubt.
Mhm.
So believing in ourselves enough to keep going every day,
Yeah.
overcoming the shoulds and the shouldn'ts and the can'ts and the won'ts,
Mhm.
and the voice of doubt in our own head, but also the voice of doubt of people in the community and family and things like that. So I left my corporate career, which was the one that I should be doing according to the outer world. You have a business degree, you should be working in corporate America. And I found it didn't suit who I am on the inside. And I knew that in order to thrive in my life, I had to face change. And that
Yeah.
was very scary. And there was a lot of self-doubt. So I moved into a career of healing and wellness and working one-on-one with individuals to become healthier through body work.
Mhm.
And it felt like it resonated more with who I am, but I've always had the connection with animals. So, uh, working both of those careers at the same time, both of them um, having somewhat of a um, connotation in the outer world of, oh, you're just a massage therapist,
Yeah.
as if it's not a valid career and a worthwhile path in life. And then introducing oneself as an animal communicator can be difficult. People, can be very excited about what I do or completely shut down. And so I've had to overcome my own self doubt and build my confidence to step out in the world and say, yes, I talk to animals.
Yeah. And even 30 years ago, I mean, body work wasn't a hugely popular thing. So I can only imagine, how much you had to face with kind of entering into that new space as well.
Yes, because our community at that time, there was no state licensure. And
Mhm.
in fact, when I first moved to this area, there was only one other legitimate massage therapist in the area. And there was no way, that was pre internet. So your only choice for advertising was in the yellow pages. And the only category that they had in the yellow pages was massage parlors. And so that spoke to what the
Oh,
societal perception was. And there were no wellness centers, and now we have wellness centers and things like that on every corner in our community. But in the beginning it wasn't like that, and I actually sat for the very first national certification exam for massage therapist in the United States,
wow.
and then was one of the very first people in the state of Maryland to get my license once that became a possibility.
Wow. So you have pretty much like essentially like pioneered, or helped pioneer these paths into the two professions that you've chosen. And as you said, you're building Ask Your Animals. And with both, it's really taken like a lot of building self-confidence. So what tools have you used to build your self-confidence?
Stubbornness,
I can relate.
diligence, um, surrounding myself with positive people
Mhm.
that believe that I can, rather than the folks that say I can't. And there's still a lot of work to do in building the reputation of these two careers. Massage therapy has come a long way, and animal communication is just beginning its journey into social acceptance. Um, I believe that that it's changing a day at a time, and I'm feeling positive about that. And I think my own self-confidence in that area, I have now years of feedback from clients that tell me the impact that my work has on their relationship with their pets. Life-saving interventions that were only possible through these conversations that we've had. And so that feedback from my clients has done a lot to help me when I'm feeling in doubt to overcome and believe that, yes, this is valid and worthwhile work.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a great segue into what exactly do you feel like a legacy is and how are you building one?
So I believe that the legacy that I want to leave with the animal communication is, number one, building the social acceptance of this work as um, being a valid team member with animal owners to help them understand their pets better and build a deeper relationship. So all pet owners, I believe, need to build a team. Their veterinarian, their groomer, their trainer, the breeder, perhaps, and then including an animal communicator on that team can really facilitate that relationship throughout the life of the pet. So leaving the legacy of understanding, I think, is what I would really like to cultivate, is helping humans understand that we are one of the animals here on this earth,
Mhm.
and that it's our responsibility to care for and um, understand, to deepen our understanding of the animals that share this earth with us, not just our companion animals, but all animals, to value them as sentient beings, to put ourselves in their shoes, to understand how they perceive their world, and how we can not only better understand them, but help them to understand us. We are, with our companion animals, we're basically not giving them a choice. I adopted you, you're living with me, like it or not.
Yeah.
And so helping them to understand the expectations that we've placed on them. Because how do you meet an expectation that you don't understand? And so that's a lot of the work that I do. In a way, I think of myself as a relationship counselor for pet owners, whether it's a dog, cat, horse, or guinea pig,
Mhm.
helping them to create a quality of life for the animals in their care, and then pass those values down to the next generation.
I love that. I definitely do. I know you've helped me tremendously with building a relationship with my two dogs. And I mean, even aside from the dogs, you've helped me slow down to improve their quality of life. So it's been really great to have you as a part of my toolkit. So for me and the dog.
It's been a pleasure and a privilege
Thank you
and a
so
lot of fun.
much. I'm glad. So I'm curious if you could give someone any nugget of advice when you're trying to help them towards thriving, what would that be?
I think to be less human and more animal. And by that, I mean that the animals that I work with have taught me so much about being a better human being.
Mhm,
And a couple of the ways they've done that is that they live each day in their inner world
mhm,
in a way that we humans sometimes forget to do. And so the inner world meaning actually living in the physical body. And in my career as a massage therapist, I discovered how many of us humans live all our waking hours in the outer world. We get caught up in responsibility and
yeah.
technology and relationships and drama and all the stuff that's going on in the outer world. and we actually become unconscious of
Mhm.
the workings of our inner world, our physical body, our feelings and emotions, and our joy. I mean, when you detach from your inner world, you detach from your joy.
Yeah.
So the animals don't live like that. They live very in tune with their physical body and their feelings. They live in the present moment rather than dwelling in the past or forecasting a scary future.
Mhm.
So so I would love for people to be more like their dog or be more like their cat. Take that moment to rest in the sunshine and feel your feelings, physical feelings, emotional feelings. Get out of your head and into your body.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And I love that you said that because one of the things that you taught me was with the dog to, and you didn't directly say this to me, but when speaking about quality of life, when I take Gunner outside, I give myself enough time to walk him so that he can actually take in all the scents. Because you've said to me multiple times, you know, we're essentially forcing these animals to do what we want them to do. And so
Mhm.
there were times where I'd be like, come on, we're going this way. And now I let him, if he doesn't want to go right and wants to go left, we go left, and I just
Mhm.
let him explore. And I've learned to also like take in the smells around me and just slow down in my walks. So it's been really good practice for me too.
That's wonderful. It's mindfulness, and that's one of the things they're here to teach us, I believe. It's and then being a good caretaker for animals also means giving them quality of life, but not from our definition of quality of life, from their definition. And so much of their quality of life is sensory: sight, sound, smell, and touch. And
Mhm.
when they're living inside a house, it's same old, same old. What's, smelled that before? It's the same routines, which can get quite boring for them, not just in activity, but in sensory input. So taking them out into the world to let them move, which is always good, but to see, smell, and hear something different than their routine every day. And many animals have told me that that is quality of life. They can't wait for the car ride with the window open.
You must be speaking of a specific Gunner. He loves
Stick my nose out, close my eyes. And I think that kind of joy, just taking it in, living in that present moment is such a good lesson for us.
Definitely. So speaking of quality of life, Marjorie is actually going to demonstrate a communication session with my dog Gunner, and we're going to simply see some things that he likes, maybe that I'm providing for him or that I'm not providing for him so that I can his quality of life. And as Marjorie said, she does this in more of a meditative state. So we're actually both going to go off camera and she's going to just connect real quickly with Gunner.
Okay, so I'm just going to close my eyes and get centered and connect with Gunner. I've already worked with him in the past, so I know what he looks like. All right, Casey. So, what questions do you have for Gunner today?
I'm curious if he likes the toys that I have for him. So I have these little squeaky toys, and then he also has like a hoof of sorts that they gave me when I adopted him that he just kind of chews on. So I'm curious if he likes either one of them or both of them.
Yeah, so when working with questions like that in animal communication, because I'm working in imagery, it's difficult to ask a question of something that I can't visualize. So when asking an animal about their preferences, we tend to present the choices, right? So we could visualize three different toys, and then I can feel his reaction to each one. And so your first one, was that a soft, squeaky toy like a stuffed animal?
Yes, the one in particular I'm thinking of is a soft, squeaky banana with the peels that come halfway down the banana.
Okay. All right. And the other one you said was a chew toy, like a rawhide hoof. Is that what you said?
Um, it's a hoof. I don't think it's rawhide. I'm pretty certain it's not. Whatever it is, however he chews on it, it doesn't break down. Like they gave it to me when I adopted him and said he loves it. So
Okay.
I'm curious if he actually does.
Okay. So visually, I present each of these options to him, and then I feel the feelings in his response. So when I present the squeaky banana, his energy ramps up. He gets excited. He shows me he starts to move his body more. He's excited because this toy to him has the connotation of interaction. So this is one that he likes to play with more with you. So he shows me an image of picking it up and actually taking it to you so that you can grab one end of it and make it squeak. He doesn't have a real understanding of what makes it squeak, but he likes when you make it squeak. So he shows this as an interactive toy. Whereas the other one, he's more protective of this one. This one is mine, not yours. He shows me imagery of, oh, yes, that's it. And then he takes it and turns his back. He turns his body away from you. He may even take it a little further away from where he was presented with it, and turns his back and really focuses in. This is mine. This is a favorite. This is my time. So this is not an interactive toy. This is one that I choose to spend time alone with this one. This is sensory in a way that using my mouth on the toy feels I don't know, productive in a way. And whereas the other one, the soft squeaky toy, is more of a game to be shared with others. Is that how he presents those toys to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. With the banana, it's so funny. He like grabs it with his paws and kind of throws it up like he wants to play catch with me. And then the hoof, he ignores me when he is chewing on it. Like he really does lay on the floor in the living room with his back to me, and I could say his name and he just acts like I'm non-existent.
He gets in the zone. It's like he's deep in his own little bubble. And so knowing this type of information is helpful to pet owners because let's say you really need to focus on a task like filming a podcast. And you need him to be occupied so he doesn't come and poke you in the leg, is that would be a great choice to give him his chew toy, and he would be perfectly satisfied going across the room or in the other room chewing on that one. Whereas if you handed him the banana, he would likely be poking you and asking to distract you from your task and engage with him in this play.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for that. So is there any other thing that you would like to share about like communication or how it works?
Yes, I think one of the biggest concepts that humans need to learn about communicating with their own animals, interacting with their own animals, is there's no visual concept for don't, the word don't, or can't, or shouldn't. And so our animals are not responding to our verbal language. They're responding to our non-verbal language, our posture and tone of voice and facial expression, but also our mental imagery. And so if I were working with you and your dog was an incessant barker, let's say you and your dog had developed a pattern of he barks every time he hears a noise and you yell, don't bark, stop barking. Well, your words don't match your intention, or your words match your intention, but your mental imagery does not. There is no visual concept for stop barking. When you yell stop barking at your dog, you are actually visualizing your dog barking. So you're sending mixed messages. So my one nugget for pet owners would be make sure that your words, your intention, and your visual imagery all match the desired outcome. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I love that. Thank you so much for giving our listeners a sample of what animal communication looks like. And if they're interested in utilizing you, how can they find you?
Well, they can find me on my social pages. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then also my website at askYourAnimals.com.
Awesome.
And I have different consultation lengths for single pet or multiple pets.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. You've been, like I said, my most unique guest, and I just love what you do and love the talent that you have. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
You're very welcome. And I'd also like to thank our music sponsor, Stephen Lamar Moore, who created the music for our podcast. And thank you to our listeners.